guys, I'm Amy, and you've landed on Belle Loves Bargains. That's my cow Effingham, and sometimes he co-hosts with me. He's got a lot to say. This channel is Dollar Tree, and only Dollar Tree. And why? Because everything at the Dollar Tree is $1.25, people. So stick around, consider subscribing, and don't forget to give me that big thumbs up. And if you want to know more about the 4 uploads I do every week, just check out the description box for more information. Enjoy! This is going to be a little bit different video because I'm outside. So I still got to do a song, don't I? Ready? Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I say, it's alright. Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it seems like years since we've been here. Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, and I say, it's all right. All right, guys. Hi, welcome to Belle's Bargains. My name is Amy. We're outside. Why? Because today is the 5 for under 5 challenge, and it was front porch or garden. So, of course, I did front porch. I'm so excited to show you guys what I did. But first, let me just explain to you. The wreath that's right there, I did months ago, and it's hanging on my front door. And it's the wagon or the bike wreath, and I did mine 2 and 3-dimensionalized it, but it had the black wire, so it was like, there we go. That's what I'm gonna base all this on. So I did. Want to see what I made? Let me show you. Okay, so that's what I made. So up there, that's the solar light, in case the porch light doesn't come on. And I love how all of these things down here, all the black went all together. It just looks really cute. And they were all under $5. So this video is a little bit different because I'm just gonna show you how they all were made. I'm not gonna talk about them in between. Then I'll come back and say goodbye at the end. First, our solar light, but this is so easy. This is one of the hanging basket, wire baskets from Dollar Tree, and we're going to use it like a lampshade. So I have this really cool solar light that I picked up probably last summer, spring, and it's like got a crystallized bulb on it, so it's just super cool looking. And so first I'm like, can I just hook it on with its hanger? Anyway, in the end, I realized that the bulb itself on this solar light is big enough that it won't come through. So I'm like, oh, well, this is like super simple. All I have to do is unhook right there. I'm like, wait, this will work. So I'm going, it doesn't go through. Took the hangers off the sides, and so there's 3 of them, and you could make this hang much lower if you separated those 3, but there's 3 chains and then the hook at the top of it right there. So I just put all 3 of those chains on there and then hung it up. That was it. So this was only $2.50. Like literally. No, $3.75. I'm sorry. No, $2.50. The hanging wire basket and the solar light. Yeah, $2.50. Pretty cool, huh? And my gosh, you could literally put these, all over a patio. Just pretty cool. All right. So that one was so easy, so cheap, and now done. Now let's move on. This is one of the black trash cans. However, I have squeezed it in a little bit, which I'd already done, so I didn't show you. I just squeezed it in a little bit to give it a different shape, more like almost like a pillar shape, like a candlestick holder shape. Just sort of gave it a waist, actually is a good way to say it. So I squeezed it in. Now I'm punching 2 holes. Actually, I punched 4 holes, but I only used 2 in the bottom of this black planter pot, and that's so that I can zip tie it onto my black wire trash can that now it has a little shape to it. See right there, you can see where I've just sort of squeezed it in and gave it like a little waist to get, so it didn't look like a wire trash can basically. So I'm just going to use 2 zip ties and zip tie this to the top of the trash can, and all I'm trying to do here is get some elevation so it's up a little bit higher, so that then I can put a pot next to it on the floor, on the ground, and we get a nice little vignette of sort of potted faux plants. I kill real plants, so I'm not putting real plants in here. These are just fake ones. And now I'm going to go out in my backyard and I'm going to fill the pot with rocks, gravel from my backyard landscaping. Super simple. And then throw in my ferns, and that first one was done. Now this one is, look at that gray pot with all these floral raised areas on it. I liked it, but I wanted to make it match, and it's a good size pot too. I was so happy when I found this one. I've only ever found it once. So I just take the shoe polish, and I purposely did not use a charcoal, a chalk paint on it. I didn't use a black paint on it because it'd be super heavy on there. And what I love about shoe polish, which I'm out of the brown, if anybody has any, please send it to me. But what I love about shoe polish is it gives it almost an opaque, is that the right word? It's just really light. It's not as heavy as a paint. So I actually put about 3 coats on there. Now the second coat here, I dab it on pretty heavy, and that's because I'm making sure that it's in all those crevices of the flowers. And so once that dried, it was pretty well. I put a 3rd coat on, and then I take a makeup brush, which I love makeup brushes to use them for giving an even texture to a painted surface. Do you see my Dollar Tree slides I'm wearing down there, you guys? Yep, they're still holding up. $1.25 on those slides. Okay, anyway, so I dab all over one more time, and then I go to the inside because I know the rocks aren't going to come all the way up to the top of it. So I just shoe polish down a little bit on the inside of this, and then that makeup brush just gives it such an even finished texture. I just love using those. And then I'm going to put rocks in it and a couple of ferns, and that one's done. And now we're going to go to the welcome sign. Now, this is going outside. However, it's in an area that does not get any rain. It's covered. So it should last a pretty good long time out there. Dollar Tree signs always sand the ends first because their paper always hangs off. That's just a reality. And then I'm going to take my black shoe polish again because, of course, everything was matching here. So I was doing black on everything. And I'm going to go around the corners so it finishes off the sign on all the edges, so you're not seeing that MDF color there. And then I always get a little weird, and I'll do the back too. I don't ask me why, but I always do. It like finishes it off for me, I think. So I'm just going to shoe polish the back as well. You do not have to do this. That's just Amy and my OCD maybe. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So then I'm going to go back to the front. Well, the little wreath thing that they had on there was really flimsy, and I was like, oh my gosh, we could do so much more. So these are the charms. Now, mind you, I've spent $1.25 on the sign, $1.25 on this little wreath, and then I'm going to add some twine and beads. So again, this one, using supplies with the twine and the beads, if you don't count that, this one was $2.50. However, I mean, if you counted the use of the beads, let's just say, because I used part of the beads from a tassel that I bought at the Dollar Tree, so still $3.75. But this is elevated so much. I absolutely love, love, love this. You could have stopped here, by the way, but I wanted to put the greenery back on it. First of all, it's going to cover up my hole at the top of the wreath charm, is what those are called. And so I'm going to take, and I robbed a piece from another sign, and you could have used any greenery. I just happen to have matching greenery, so I was like, okay, we'll go ahead and do this. And I'm just going to connect it, and then it's going to go, I'm going to glue it down like 4 different areas on there. Now the only thing about when you glue something down like this, if it's sitting outside in the Arizona sun, we get very hot weather. It could melt that gun glue. We'll see. If it does, I'll pull it out and epoxy or use super glue or whatever to glue it down. But right now, for making the video, I'm like, I can't wait for this all to dry. I've got to have the quick fix. Amy needs a quick fix when I'm doing a craft. So I just go around and glue it on all 4 sides. And then after I did this, like I knew I was going to put some beads on the hanger, but I was really looking at it going, gosh, I feel like I could add something else to this. So because it had a jute twine hanger, which I wasn't going to change, I was like, I could definitely add some jute twine onto this and it would look good. It would not be overkill. What would have been overkill if I had done the jute twine on both ends. So, and you'll see in the pictures that I just do it on the one end, and I think it looks really good and really balanced. All right, so I'm just about finished gluing my greenery around here. Doesn't that look cute? We've really popped up the O in the welcome here. And I like that this was, we're following suit because the letters are all in white, and the wreath charm is white. It's just, it all comes out perfect. And then that has to glue down and set up. Boom, boom. Okay, so this is where I decided, I think maybe I should add a little jute twine to the end of this. And so I do go back in and on the start sign of it, so on the W side, because I know I can slightly go into the W and we're still going to be able to read it, right? So I wrap it around about 3 times. I knot it. By the way, I don't know why people always glue down the ends of their jute twine when they wrap something. I incorporate it in. So I'm going to knot it to the front, no glue required. I'm going to knot my little ends, and then I'm going to make a small little jute twine finger bow to finish this off. But I could have left it just with the knot right there. I just decided to add a little finger bow. But I always incorporate knotting it into the design. I think it looks really good. That's just me. But I'm thinking, yeah, it needs a tiny little finger bow. So I do my little tiny little finger bow. If you haven't seen my bow tutorial on how to make these, it is available now on my channel. 22 different bows on my bow tutorial. Check it out. I just released it on Thursday. So there I'm going to put my little jute twine finger bow on there. And now we're going to add beads to the sign. So I have one of the tassels that had the black, the white, and the natural colored beads on it. I just took a part of that. I'd already used some from it, which is why it's in this jar. And so I just pulled them out. And I'm going to put the natural, the white, and the black, which I repeat on for the other side. But then once I put it in, I'm like, oh, no, no, no. It needs to be the same pattern up next to the sign. So at first, the one side starts with the black one and the other side starts with the natural. So I undo it. I'm like, no, that doesn't work. They have to be balanced. It has to be the same in this particular order. I don't always do that. You guys know that. So I just take it off and I reverse the order of those beads on that end. And then this sign is done. And I think it came out super cool. I really like it. So it was a cool upscale for so inexpensive too. All right, next is this one. So I found this pail last year. I've never seen them again. I've only seen them once. But you could do this with any pail. You could do this with any of the pails that they sell us at Dollar Tree. Obviously it had the R on it, which is our last name, and it was black and the chrome. So it's too shiny for me. And what I'm doing here is trying to smash it like we do the tin cans. Now I'm going to tell you, I could have put it on the floor and stood on it, and this would have been a lot faster. I didn't think of that at that moment. And so I just started pounding away because one side's not going to be seen. That's going to be the back side of it. I'm just trying to get it flattened out so that I don't want the round shape. I want that flattened out tin can shape, right? And stuff starts falling off my table because I'm hammering away. It was kind of funny. Like, bam, bam, bam. In the end, this came out exactly how I wanted, so it all worked out. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm literally looking for it to be beat up and, weathered and tattered and all that stuff. Okay, so there we go. We've got it. Now, there goes my trash can. I'm pounding away. Everything's falling off the table. Here it comes. This is my little trash can on top of my craft table. Okay, now once I get it to the shape that I want, it came apart a little bit there. And then I was like, it doesn't really matter. That's totally not going to matter in the scheme of things. But I was just like putting it back, clamping it back together. Okay, I'm now going to take my hydrogen peroxide, my vinegar, and my salts mixture, and I take it out in the sun, and I sit it out in the sun. I'm spraying it there, and I let it rust up a little bit. But some of the metal stuff from Dollar Tree does not rust up as well, because this isn't really galvanized. It's like a shiny faux, it's like a shiny metal. Anyway, so that's okay, because when I spray it with that, it damages the surface of it, and it leaves like salt spots. And so I'm taking a shoe. This is not shoe polish. This is like the, the old-fashioned shoe polish. Bought it at Dollar Tree. And I'm just taking a wipey and rubbing that over it, because it's adding the rust color to the salt damaged areas, if that makes sense. So even if it doesn't rust up exactly the way I want, I can still get that rusted look. And so this is, it comes out kind of orangey, which rust is kind of. But the best thing to do when you're doing stuff like that is you can layer your colors. You'll see here in a minute. But right now I have a piece of wood and a nail, because what am I doing? I'm hammering 2 holes in the back of this so that I can put my hanger on it. So this is a super simple trick. Piece of wood underneath, get a nail, and hammer it through. And now you have a hole. Let's put one on the other side, because I'm going to need 2. Because I'm going to use a great string of beads. All right, so quickly while we're doing this, and I'm going to add some more color to rust this up. I'm going to use black shoe polish to add some more dimension and color in there, and it does end up looking really, really old and tattered. I spent $1.25 on the pail, $1.25 on the string of beads that I'm going to use, and I have 2 picks there at $1.25 each. So we are at $1.25, $2.50. We're at $5 right there, right? So I add a couple things in, though, that are part of my stash. For instance, a piece of a pool noodle, which I cut in half. I didn't have to. I could have just put free rocks in there or something. But I cut a piece of a pool noodle to put in my inside. This is my string of beads that were $1.25. I had already painted them black, and I painted them black just by putting them in a pile of black paint, and then I hang it up to dry. Like, I did mine in a bowl. You can do it in a lunch bag, a Ziploc bag, but you just stick them in there and I put them up to dry. I'd done it for another project, and then I didn't end up using it, so you don't see me paint these, but that's all it is. They were natural colored, and I soaked them in black paint and hung them up to dry. So this worked out great, because of course black is the color that I'm using for this. So I tie that on, and now I'm just going to get a piece of the pool noodle, cut it in half, and I'm going to put that in the backside, not the backside, inside of this, so that I can put my picks in there. So I cut a piece, and then I cut that in half, because of course this is sort of flattened out, right? And I'm going to glue those in with a little bit of hot glue. And then after we're done, we're going to put the picks in. So I have 2 picks here. One's taller, and one is fuller. That's done on purpose. I wanted a little height to this, which is why the taller one that's on the table there, and then this is the faux fern. But a couple of the pieces of the fern kept coming off. In the end, I took those pieces that kept falling off, and I used it to my advantage, and I got some leftover. I save all of my leftover pick pieces, so if I use the flowers off of it, I'll keep the entire stem part, or all the leaf part, or whatever, which you're going to see here in a minute. So the pieces that fell off, I just went and cut some pieces of a pick and used the wire stem to add those into it. And I don't want to add any Spanish moss or anything to this, although you could. So after I get those additional pick pieces in, these right there, they are leftover pieces from picks, because I've used all the florals but not the leaves, and that's it. Hope you guys like these. I think they came out really great. I love how my front porch looks. Okay, so simple, right? So this was the 5 for Under 5 challenge, and that's Emily from Farm Charm Chic and Lisa from Our Great House are the ones that have hosted it. So make sure you check out their channels below down in my description box. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to go to the playlist. Yeah, don't you love it? By the way, Marcus loved what I did on the front porch. Woo!